We're balling. Get this pulled up. Okay.
Rolling?
We're rolling. Welcome to episode 5 of Transition Takes, the show that points the analog stick up to throw self-lobs. Thank you for tuning in. If you end up enjoying the show, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I would like to thank the sponsor of today's episode, DUBBY, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. Today I'm not drinking any DUBBY once again because it has not come in the mail yet, but you can still use code XMASON at checkout for 10% off your order today. My esteemed co-host Devin is out sick, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Today, I will of course be talking about the NBA playoffs. A few Week 1 NFL games were announced. We'll be talking about that as well. And later in the show, our producer Alex will join us to talk about his first love, the UFC. Without further ado, let's get into some sports. We're going to open it up today with Mavs versus Thunder. The Mavs really gave one away in Game 4. When your two star players combined for 27 points on 10 of 31 from the field, and somehow you're still in control for most of the game, it's a tough loss. It's the kind of loss that can really haunt a team. It's the kind of loss that can turn a potential finals run into a second round exit, especially when J-Dub was 5 of 19, Dort was 4 of 14, and Josh Giddey continues to be absolutely unplayable in the playoffs. On top of that, the Thunder bench scored a total of 12 points. Something's definitely not right with Luka. I don't like the thing where when they play bad, they're hurt, and when they play great, then they're not hurt anymore. Like, he's played well through this injury, so he is just expected to do so. Plus, he's reached that level of player where it's kind of cry me a river. If you're playing, man, you got to show up, and right now, Luka simply isn't showing up. It's by far the worst playoff series of his career. He was a guy that was on lists with only Michael Jordan for how he was performing in the playoffs, and this series has been far from that. To emphasize even more on how Dallas gave this one away, the Thunder shot 26% from 3. Really, the only player that showed up was Shea. And we did Hotel Superstar last week. If Hotel Superstar was 9 deep, Shea would have been in there. Shea's an unbelievable player. And right now, he's the best player on the court, and it's supposed to be Luka. As I said, Shea's an unbelievable player, but I think most people would agree he's not Luka's level. But so far this series, Luka's kind of getting played off the court by him. Not to mention that Lou Dort, which, in case you didn't know, I met him. I make sure to mention that every chance I get. He's put him in hell, man. He's someone said that, and Alex is gonna like this one. He's stuck in the Dortress. The Dort chamber. The Dorture chamber. The Dorture chamber. He's definitely stuck there. And not only, I think with the injury, Shea's a bit of a free throw merchant. Everyone kind of knows that. Luka watching that on the other side, the calls that Shea's getting and the calls he's not. I think Luka's really in his head right now with the refs, with Dort's physical defense. And I still think Dallas will win the series, but that is a tough loss to overcome. When a young team like the Thunder, man, if they're down 3-1, they probably fold up and go home. Dallas probably wins it in 5. Now their best case is 6, which I still think will happen. I think that Dallas will have a bounce back game in Game 5 and then go back to Dallas and end the series. But it's certainly possible that it goes the other way. And they should be up 3-1 now, and they're not. And whenever you give away playoff games, it's playing with fire. It really, really is. Dallas was 10 of 20 from the free throw line, while OKC was 23 of 24. So it's not even a huge discrepancy in how many free throws they're getting. It's making your freaking free throws. 10 of 20 is just simply unacceptable. I don't expect you to go 23 of 24. That's really, really good. But on 20 free throws, you got to be hitting 15. Like, you have to make more than that. Kyrie absolutely needs to be more aggressive. He's only averaging 12 shots for the series, which is pretty unbelievable for someone who his entire career has been a score-first point guard. I think his only bad game was Game 4. because in Game 2 he only had 9 points, but he was playing really good defense. He was distributing really well. Game 4 was a struggle for him everywhere. And while Luka is hurt and struggling, Kyrie has to pick up that load offensively. And while it's awesome that PJ Washington is having an excellent series, for him to have double the shot attempts that Kyrie had in Game 4 is not a recipe for winning. Kyrie has to be what he is, which is a borderline superstar. He just has to be. As I mentioned previously, I believe the winner of I believe the winner of Game 5 will win the series. I think the winner of Game 5 will be Dallas. But if the Thunder win Game 5, I don't see the Mavs coming back. I hope they do. It'll still be my pick because try to stay true to my picks. But it would definitely give me cause to pause, as did them losing that Game 4. All right, moving on quickly, we're going to move to Cavs versus Celtics. We've barely talked about this series, or really any Celtics series so far, because it's just such a cakewalk, and I've truly never seen such a easier road to the finals than what the Celtics have. And if they get to the finals and just get absolutely railroaded, I think this entire Eastern Conference run will mean pretty much next to nothing. I don't foresee them getting railroaded, but if they did. Interesting thing I find about the Celtics so far this playoff run is Jason Tatum, up until the last 2 games, was not very good. He finally showed up the last 2 games. He's played very, very well. And what a luxury it truly is to have your star player. For the first good game your star player has is Game 3 of the second round. I wonder how many times LeBron wished that he could have a 6-game stretch in the playoffs where he was allowed to be awful. 5 games in the first round, 7-game stretch where he was able to just not be good and the team still wins. Perfect example of why Tatum was not in Hotel Superstar, nor was he argued to be put into Hotel Superstar by Devin. He's a good player who puts up good numbers, but nobody in the hotel would ever have 7 back-to-back subpar playoff games. He averaged 22, 10, and 5 against the Heat. Granted, that Heat team was dead in the water, right? Against the Cavs, he was averaging 21, 9, and 5 for the first 2 games. So essentially, because those numbers are pretty close, he averaged 22, 10, and 5 for the first 7 games of the series, and those aren't superstar numbers. They just aren't. Especially for the reason he's a superstar is his high-octane offense and his ability to hit tough contested shots. So yeah, Tatum just hasn't been Tatum, but luckily for him, he's on, which is a testament to him as well. The Celtics got the 1 seed, and seeding is supposed to matter. It seems more and more in the NBA, teams don't really care what seed they are. Like, hey, we're gonna have to play them eventually, so whether we have to play them in the first round, second round, third round, whatever, doesn't matter. Kind of a la the Lakers being the 7th seed the past 2 years, even though their talent is more than a 7 seed. The Celtics went and got the 1st seed, and because of that, they got to play what was left of Miami, and now this Cavs team that nobody thought had a chance against them, and it's proven right. The Cavs are down 3-1. But it must be nice for Tatum to be able to play that way and still be able to win in 5 and then be up 3-1. I'm sure there's a lot of superstars in NBA history who wish they had that luxury. Moving on to Knicks versus Pacers, Game 5. Yeah, Game 5 just finished as we're recording this. Knicks are now up 3-2. They played excellent in Game 5. They had an amazing Game 5. They gave all-out energy, as they always do. I don't remember if OG was back. Alex, can you confirm he was not back?
I'm not too sure.
Oh, you're not too sure. We're going to do a quick fact check. Hold on. Oh, it's gone.
There it is.
We're going to do a quick fact check. Let's see here. Box score, New York. Nope, he was not. So, Anunoby's still not playing, which, look, I think the Knicks are going to win this series. And I said, just last episode, I went out on the limb and said that the Knicks will have an 0-4 Pistons type run. A lower talented team that finds a way to win the finals, I'm out on that. It's just, and who's the coach on the TNT broadcast? He has the other brother, Van Gundy. Not that he'll ever see this, and if he ever does, that means we blew up pretty big, which is awesome. What a clown. What an absolute clown. This guy was sitting there, everybody's giving Tom Thibodeau a hard time because he plays his players. What do you expect the man to do? You want him to just rest everybody? This is the playoffs. This is the NBA. Shut up, okay? The point of the NBA playoffs isn't to win round 2. It's to win the championship, which the Knicks now have no chance of doing because most of their team is hurt. Their second best player is hurt. Mitchell Robinson is hurt. Why? Because he decided it was a good idea to play these players, a 7-footer in Mitchell Robinson's case who is coming off of an injury, OG Anunoby, who always has struggled with injuries throughout his career. His biggest problem in Toronto was staying healthy. Thibodeau decided it was a good idea to play them 40-plus minutes a night. No wonder they're hurt. And then Van Gundy to go on the broadcast and act as if the people who are saying that was a bad idea or are idiots or are disrespecting the game. We're here to win championships. We're not here to win the second round against the Indiana Pacers. So congratulations to the Knicks and to Van Gundy. The Knicks are going to probably make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're going to have no gas left, and they're going to get railroaded by the Celtics. Congratulations on your 4th place prize. What an idiot Van Gundy was on that broadcast. Just absolutely ridiculous. Brunson once again went off in this game. Mentioned Hotel Superstar a couple times this episode. If it had 10 rooms and not 8, Brunson would definitely be in. Brunson and Shea would have the other 2 rooms occupied. But there's only 8 rooms, so maybe next year, buddy. Again, there's a reason that NBA coaches don't play their 7 best guys all of the minutes. It's because people get hurt. Brunson showed huge signs of just wear and tear games 3 and 4 where he struggled mightily on an injured foot. And you wonder why someone who's a 6-foot guard that's banging the trees, the 7-footers in the paint all the time, you wonder why he would have a foot injury. Maybe because he's out there 45 minutes a night. There's a reason that NBA coaches don't do it. There's a reason that Jimmy Butler was so applauded when he did it in the finals, because it is rare. It's not something that is supposed to happen. And for him to do that to a 6-foot guard, OG, who has a history of injuries, Hart, who's giving 150% every second that he's on the court, and for whatever reason, the interviewers really don't like Josh Hart. This man is playing 48 minutes a night, and they always want to interview him after quarters. It's like, can this man get some freaking Gatorade? Like, leave him alone, right? So I think they'll beat the Pacers. I think it'll go 7 to where the home team wins every single game. Boston will have been off for a week by the time they have to play the Knicks. And I think Boston will beat them in 5, just like they'll beat the Cavs in 5 and just like they beat the Heat in 5. And once again, Van Gundy, you're a clown, and there's a reason you're no longer a coach. And I can't wait for Doc Rivers to join you in that boat. Anyway, what the Knicks really could use is an order from today's sponsor, DUBBY. DUBBY helps your focus, energy, and productivity, whether it's cramming for a late-night test, trying to zone in for a 2K rec game, or competing in the NBA playoffs. DUBBY has your back, and you can use code XMASON for 10% off at checkout. Moving on to Nuggets Wolves, which we actually, as we're recording, is going on. We have, let me see if I can get a score update here on, in case y'all were wondering, this is not my MacBook, this is the producer's MacBook, and I once called it an iBook, so I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Currently, as we're recording, it's 28-26 Denver at the end of the first quarter. So, I think that the Wolves win this game. I think that Denver wins the next game. And then we just have an all-time great Game 7. more power to Jokic, man. Last time we did this pod, I kind of questioned whether he was someone that when adversity struck could pull through, or if he was more just a front runner. And at least in Game 4, he took over. He scored 35 points. It's a huge testament to a superstar when he can play the way that he doesn't want to because that's the way his team needs him to play to win that specific game. Jokic has always been pass first, but in that game, they needed him to take over as a scorer, and he did just that. Huge shout out to Aaron Gordon, who shot over 70% in the last 2 games, and over 75% from 3 in both games as well. He's been playing unbelievable. In round 1, their second best player, in my opinion, was Michael Porter Jr., and in this round, Aaron Gordon's been their second best player. The main reason I think that the Wolves will win tonight is Jamal Murray is hurt. He had a good Game 3 when they had extended rest in between games. And then for Game 4, he wasn't the same. If it wasn't for that half-court heave, he would have scored 16 points, which for a guy who has been known as a playoff performer and a guy who scores 30-plus in his sleep in the playoffs, obviously 16 is not what you're hoping for out of him. So Jamal has to be better. I don't think he will be with less rest in between what was now Game 4 and today's Game 5. So I think he'll struggle. Karl Anthony Towns has to be better. If the Wolves end up losing this series in 6, which will have meant they lost 4 straight, I guarantee Cat will be in trade rumors again. And I wouldn't blame him necessarily. Gobert's pretty close to untradeable just because of how many picks they gave away to get him. But Cat and him are a little redundant, especially when you have Naz Reid. So if you try to package Cat and maybe a role player for a Trae Young or something like that, where you now have another ball handler to pair with Anthony Edwards, plus the defense that McDaniels brings, and Alexander Walker, Gobert, etc. That could be a really good team if Cat doesn't show up. I think he will. If he doesn't, though, prepare for Cat to be on the hot seat. Anthony Edwards continues to be excellent. Thankfully, this series is now living up to the hype because for a little bit there, it looked like Minnesota was just going to walk over them. But kind of shame on all of us for thinking that it would be that easy. Denver has the heart of a champion. There's a reason they won the championship last year. And it's pretty much simple as that for them. As I said, I got Minnesota tonight, Denver in Game 6, and then Game 7 hopefully is an all-timer. Moving on to our next subject, now that we have came and conquered the NBA playoffs, we're going to talk about the UFC. And for this next segment, I am a complete UFC novice, so I would like to welcome my friend, the producer of the show, Alex. Round of applause, I suppose.
Yeah, baby.
A little awkward when you're the only one who claps for yourself.
Yeah, dude. All right. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Can I have that hat?
You know what? I'll let you wear it.
That my guy.
My hair's a little messed up, but
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you wear it. All right. How's the hair look? Hair check?
You can have this back.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, brother. I guess to start off with, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
All right. Yeah. Well, obviously, I am here because we're going to be talking UFC. And
Did you do that on purpose?
I did do this on
You
purpose.
did it on purpose. That's good.
I did. I'm really the only guy in... Well, not really the only guy, but...
I bet Chase could come on here and do it.
Chase could come on. We've talked about it before, where Chase should come on here and talk some UFC. But, yeah. Me and Mason have been buds since, second grade. Second grade?
We met in first grade. We became, best friends. I think it was third grade.
Third grade.
And it's because I'm a bad quarterback.
And because I'm an elite receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
baby.
least at the time you were.
Yeah, not anymore.
You, jump up now and pull, a calf or something.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. But anyways, I'm here because we have a big card coming up. UFC 302 on June 1st in
Really quick.
Newark, New Jersey.
It's in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
I think that UFC's better now that they're not only in Vegas and that they're just everywhere.
Yeah, and actually Dana White on this last card announced that he's no longer going to be doing Apex cards.
What does that mean?
So like fight nights, so like the non-pay-per-view cards, most of the time they would have them at the UFC Apex. It's the facility in Vegas, no fans, just like very few people in the audience, and
Gotcha.
It really is just not a good atmosphere.
So now they're gonna have even the fight nights in front of a live crowd.
Yes,
That's pretty sweet.
They're going back to live crowds because this last live crowd is really, really, really good.
That's pretty awesome. Before we get into 302, how was 301? Just kind of a summary of the show. Was it a good show?
I'm not gonna lie, it was a sleeper.
It was a sleeper.
You know, half of the audience left during the main event.
No way.
For their home champ.
Oh my god, who is the home champ?
Alexandre Pantoja.
Okay. Why was it so bad? Was it a hug fest?
No, it actually was a pretty good fight. I thought that the challenger had no chance. Like, I honestly had never really even heard of him. Mm-hmm. And he was ranked number 7 or 8, I believe.
Interesting enough, for a guy who watches and cares about the UFC as much as you do, you almost never hit your parlays.
Never. Never. I think I only have... My parlay record with UFC, I want to say, is a good 2 of like 40.
Yeah, that adds.
Yeah.
To be fair, mine's pretty similar with the NFL. Remember last year, man?
I do remember that.
I was betting like 400 a weekend.
Oh, dude,
it was...
That
every
hurts.
day was a sweat. Remember we sat outside of Lowe's watching 2 different games.
I do remember that. I do.
But we sat outside of Lowe's. I had a game on my screen. He had a game on his. We had the same parlay. And God, mine was Josh Giddey. So
points and assists.
The Josh Giddey thing had just happened. Ooh, and his line was at 17.5. So I bet the under 17.5 on Josh Giddey because allegedly, right? He did allegedly what he was accused of. And you bet something on Shea.
Yes.
So our 2 people were Shea and him.
Because I remember I had won one of my parlays.
Because you got Giddey at under 17.5, but I got him at under 18.
That's
and
right.
He got exactly 18.
Yeah.
So my parlay hit, or mine missed, but his hit. But we're just sitting in the parking lot, and on one of the last plays of the game, so I have under Shea on points and under Giddey on points assist. Shea throws it in to Giddey, and Giddey gets a layup. So points, assists, I'm out.
It was all done.
It was so dumb. Anyway, we're going to move on officially to the UFC. You said you only wanted to talk about the main and the co-main.
Yes.
So for the first couple fights, I'm going to ask you I'm going to give you the fight, and I'm going to ask you one simple question, okay?
All right, sounds good.
So for the first fight, we have Randy Brown versus Alizu Santos. Did I get that right?
I believe so.
Is it a hug fest or no?
I don't know much about Santos, I'm not gonna lie. Randy Brown, I actually did see him fight live. He's a really good striker.
So maybe
I'm gonna say no.
No hug fest. Okay. If I butcher these names, I apologize. Jalton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Hug fest or no?
That was pretty good.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, brother.
Check Tuesday.
Jalton Almeida is a known grappler. Again, I don't know much about this Romanov guy. The heavyweight division is pretty dead right now.
Oh, this is a heavyweight fight?
Yeah. Jalton Almeida, he was on the path to a championship not too long ago, actually. Mm-hmm. Like, they were throwing him up the rankings really fast, and his last fight, he got whooped pretty bad.
Ouch.
Yeah. So he's going to be coming off a loss here. I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be a hug fest, probably.
Hug fest. Boo. All right, next one. We have Kevin Holland versus Michael Zizic.
We're going to call him Michael.
Michael O.
Michael O. There you go.
Hug fest or no?
Kevin Holland, man. You get no hug fest here.
No hug fest here. Good aim.
Unless Michael O comes in with a complete grappling game plan, Kevin Holland's going to try and keep this on the feet.
I gotta respect fighters who actually fight and not hug. So next, we're now into the co-main, so we're gonna actually have some analysis here. We have Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa.
All right.
Give us the breakdown of the fight. Who do you have winning, and why do you think they'll win?
All right. So Sean Strickland, I believe his last fight, he's coming off of a loss. I believe his last fight was for the belt. He was trying to defend it against Dricus du Plessis. Paulo Costa, I'm trying to remember what his last fight was. He looked really, really good, though. He did win his last fight. This is a big fight for the middleweight division. Both of these guys are really high in the ranks. A win here for either guys could low-key get them to a title shot.
And the guy who has the title is the guy who beat Izzy, right?
No, Sean Strickland is the guy who beat Izzy for the belt.
Strickland already lost the belt?
Yeah.
Who did he lose it to?
Dricus du Plessis.
Wow.
Yeah.
I missed that entirely.
So
did
yeah.
he kick his ass?
He did.
Dang.
He won all 5 rounds.
Man.
It was pretty bad, and
Is he gonna come back?
I really hope so in the near future. I believe the UFC is trying to get him right back into the title picture against Dricus du Plessis.
Well, of course, it's Izzy.
Because
he's kind of like on the realm of Conor, where if you come back, you're getting a great fight.
Yeah. With all he's given to the UFC, of course, Dana's gonna let that happen. But honestly, even if Izzy comes back straight into a title picture, I'm okay with it because the guy who has the championship now, Dricus du Plessis, him and Izzy had some pretty bad blood before.
Oh, snap. Those are the best kinds of fights.
Because it was originally supposed to be du Plessis versus Izzy for the belt and not Sean Strickland, but du Plessis was hurt. So
do you think that's part of why Izzy actually lost to Strickland? He wasn't training for him the whole time? Because hadn't Izzy beaten Strickland like twice before that? No,
that was their first time fighting.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he still had a full training camp to prepare for Sean Strickland.
No.
It wasn't like, oh, du Plessis out. Yeah. But yeah, he completely dropped the ball in that fight.
Yeah, Izzy got.
Yeah.
He got.
It was bad.
That fight.
He got dropped pretty bad.
And then also Hugfest or no for Strickland Costa.
I honestly believe this is going to be a fucking war. Sorry for cussing.
A slobber knocker?
It's going to be a slobber knocker with the potential for fight of the night, $50K bonus, I believe.
Wow. All right, this is the one I'm most excited for because I love Dustin.
Oh, yeah.
We got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
First question is there any chance that Dustin wins? And if the avenue in which you see him winning, how would the fight have to go for him to win, if there is a chance?
All right, let's see. Well, I do think there is a way for Dustin to win. It's definitely going to have to stay on the feet for him to win. Naturally, because Islam is just Khabib 2.0 with a little better striking. I know. I don't get the Khabib GOAT talk.
Conor's my GOAT forever.
Yeah, that's valid, brother.
I love Conor.
But yeah, I can see Dustin winning this fight. This is Islam's first title defense where he's actually fighting someone in his weight class. He's defended the belt 2 times against Volkanovski.
Yeah.
And Volkanovski moved up in weight. Are
those his only title defenses?
Those are his only 2 title defenses. Yeah.
He lost the first one in my opinion. I think Volk beat him the first time.
It was a toss up. I could have seen it go.
I feel like Ty has to go to the guy whose weight class this isn't. Like it's more impressive that it was even close.
It was definitely impressive, but he definitely redeemed himself in that second one. He put Volkanovski out.
Yeah, he did.
It was bad.
Any chance that Dustin retires if he loses?
I believe this could be Dustin's last fight, win or lose.
So he would win the title and still be like, hey, I'm out of here?
This is the last thing he wants on his bucket list in the UFC.
Has he ever won a championship in any weight class?
He's won an interim title in the lightweight division.
The interim stuff's such bullshit.
I don't really like the interims anymore. At first, I thought they were pretty cool, but it's just been so run down, especially with the heavyweight division now with John Jones being out, and he's supposed to fight Stipe, but now Tom Aspinall has the interim belt. So now what do you do with these 3 guys that are all trying to fight one another?
Right.
It's just, But,
what's stupid is, like, if you're the champ and you're hurt, then you either lose it, these guys fight, now we have a new champ, or these guys fight for the number 1 contender, and then whoever wins fights you when you're finally healthy. Like, their interim is such bullshit.
Yeah, I do not
and also interims. The BMF thing is the worst thing ever. The BMF...
It's pretty cool. It's pretty
creates
cringy.
Excellent television.
Definitely.
But the whole fact that there's an actual belt and name for it is nonsense.
Yeah,
Like, hey guys, this is the beat the shit out of each other fight for the night. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, win or lose, I think Dustin could possibly retire.
Do you think it's likely? Or would you be more surprised if he did retire or more surprised if he didn't?
I would be more surprised if he didn't retire.
Didn't retire.
This is the last shot.
That
for
makes
Dustin.
me really sad.
This is gonna be his third title fight in the last 2 or 3 years, and he hasn't won one yet.
Yeah.
So this is the last shot.
Have they all been against it? No, you just said this is Islam's first title defense. Have they all been against huggers? How about that?
Kind of, but not really.
Because he had
the first title.
who's the blonde guy? He had him beat, didn't he?
Charles.
Yeah,
Right here. I was there.
He
I
had
was
him
at
beat.
that fight. It was a good fight. He was completely outclassing Charles on the feet, but once it got to the ground, it was all.
Dustin does
Charles.
not give a shit. No matter what position he's in, he's jumping guillotine.
Oh yeah.
Jumping
You cannot
gilly.
do that. Please do not do that against Islam.
Yeah, do not jump gilly, brother.
Yeah.
And just because of who I am, the last question we're gonna ask you is, who do you got in Chandler versus Connor when it happens in July, right?
July or no, it's in June as well. It's the last weekend of June.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, dude.
I got Connor.
Oh man, it's so hard to say because both of these guys have been out for so long waiting for each other to be ready for this fight. The last time we saw Michael Chandler was when he got beat by Dustin Poirier. Actually, funny enough, he got choked out in the second round in MSG. Did not look good at all. I mean, from what I remember, it was a really good fight up until when he started wrestling with Dustin and got choked out.
Jump gilly.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. This injury Connor's coming back from, it's a rough
The
one.
leg one, right?
Yeah.
Is that the last time he fought?
That was the last time
Oh
he
my
fought.
God.
That was, you were at my house for that.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But
That's insane.
if I had to choose, as much as I love Connor and what he's done for the UFC, I'm gonna have to go Michael Chandler.
Yeah, you're a hater.
I know.
Who was the main of not main event, like the co-main of UFC 300? The guys who just beat the hell out of each other.
They were the Coco main.
Yeah, who was that?
It was 300, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was
The guy when he got knocked clean. I think it was the BMF belt, actually.
it was
yeah.
Gaethje and Max Holloway.
All right, Gaethje and Holloway. Here's my hot take, because that's what these shows are made out of. That knockout was not that impressive. It wasn't. He was impressive beating the crap out of him all night.
I mean, yeah,
that was impressive. But the whole, like, hey, stand here, let's tussle. It's like, yeah, dude. You have 100 stamina left. This man has a broken nose, can't bleed. You poked him in the eyes twice. Of course I'm going to... It's like, hey, 6-year-old, stand here in the middle of this ring and fight me, pussy. It's like, yeah, you know you're going to win.
I mean, yeah.
Gaethje had no shot. None. At that point. If he did that in, like, round 1, it's like, damn, this dude has some balls.
Yeah.
But Gaethje had no shot.
Yeah. My take on that whole thing is that Max Holloway didn't even need to do that.
No, he absolutely didn't.
He had the fight.
All he was doing was trying to get fight of the night.
I mean,
That's the only reason he did that.
Dana was giving out $300,000 bonuses.
Right. So he's like, hey, buddy, I know I'm going to win, so let's win some more money. Come stand here. But it wasn't impressive from like a...
You know, that's understandable, but once it goes down in knockout of the year, once it goes down in knockout of the year, we'll see.
You
if
really
we
think it'll be
change that.
knockout of the year?
I think so.
That's crazy.
I think so.
Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It was an absolute
good.
pleasure. Good,
I hope to
good
come back
have you
soon
here.
for Chandler and Connor.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, and hopefully Devin's healthy for that. We'll have 3 people at the table.
Dude,
Yeah.
that'd be stacked.
That would be just like that card is going to be.
Yeah, dude.
Righteous.
All right. Thank you for having me, brother.
My pleasure, dude. Thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Once again, thank you to Alex for joining us there for that UFC talk. I'm a complete novice on that. UFC and baseball, I know almost nothing. I know a lot more about UFC than baseball. I'll give myself that. Now, for our last topic of the day, let me fix that real quick. For our last topic of the day, we're going to talk some of the Week 1 matchups that were announced by the NFL. Starting with jumping straight into the fire, we have Dallas Cowboys against the Cleveland Browns. I said last week when we were doing the over-unders, I hope Dallas started with some weaker defenses. And you can't start against a better defense than Cleveland. They were the best defense in the league last year. I think this is absolutely brutal for Dallas. They have to go on the road to Cleveland against that defense with 2 rookie O-linemen. That's rough. And Myles Garrett's going to eat.
And Jameis Winston, baby.
He's not going to play.
I know.
In case he wasn't picked up on Mike, which I think he was, he said, and Jameis Winston. He's not going to play. Unless Deshaun gets hurt in the offseason. That's brutal. An offseason from hell leads to a week 1 from hell. Browns take it 27-10. I don't think Dallas will be able to move the ball. Especially CD will be playing himself into game shape because he's holding out. They have no running backs on the roster. It's gonna be rough. And I was really surprised to see that Dallas is actually favored for that game. Dallas is a -1.5 on the road. Dude, I'm gonna slam the money on Cleveland, but I never bet against Dallas. I should start. I'd make some money. All right, moving on. We got Chiefs versus Ravens. Brutal for the Ravens here. Last year was supposed to be their Cinderella story. It was supposed to be their year. And the Chiefs, who looked more vulnerable than they have in any of the years since Mahomes got there, the Chiefs went on the road and beat them. And the score was closer than that game felt. It felt like the Chiefs thoroughly dominated them. And now the Ravens have to go to Kansas City and watch them hang the banner that a lot of those players probably think they should have. It's a brutal spot just as a person. Like, it'd be as if your wife cheated on you and then came to your house with the guy she cheated on you with and kind of rubbed it in your face. It's like, that's brutal. There's no way. There's no way. Ravens lost a lot in free agency, and the Chiefs are better than they were last year. I got Chiefs 34-23, and this is the kind of opener that could really stick with the Ravens. And previously on the pod, I said the Ravens will be the surprise team of the NFL in a negative direction. I think the Ravens are really going to struggle this year. Quickly moving on, we got Packers versus Eagles. I don't think this is necessarily brutal for anybody. I do think the Packers will win. The Packers are a young team full of confidence. They completely dominated Dallas in Dallas and then went to San Francisco. And if I'm a player on that team, I think they should have won. They had that game. Purdy continued to throw it directly to Packers players, and the defenders weren't catching the ball that day. Packers were up for most of the game, and then the Niners came back and took it. If I'm the Packers, I'm full of confidence. The Eagles were one of the worst teams in the league the last month of the year last season. Got thoroughly dominated by Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. And they're going to have a lot of rookies in the secondary, which I'm sure Matt LaFleur is just licking his chops to throw confusing stuff at him. Jordan Love, towards the end of the year, was on fire. And I have him cooking in week 1, taking the win 31-27 against the Eagles. Next, we have Jets versus Niners. I've heard a lot of, talking heads on sports shows I watch say that the Niners are going to blow them out and that it's brutal for the Jets and all this. I think it's brutal for both teams. From the Jets' perspective, Aaron has no time to reacclimate himself before playing an elite defense. Coming off the injury. He has no time to kind of link up with his receivers that he didn't get to play with last year, so it's completely new with Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams now. Week 1, the offensive line has 3 new starters. Learning how to play together against a defense like that won't be easy. But from the Niners' point of view, they've had a loud offseason filled with contract disputes and trade rumors. I believe Purdy's going to have an awful game against what should be an elite defense once again in the Jets. I have the Jets winning 23-20, and to get more specific, I have Purdy throwing a pick on what could be the potential game-winning /tying drive. But instead he throws a pick because I just will continue to pray on his downfall until it happens. Quicker episode today without a co-host. We're about 20 minutes shorter than we usually are. But I had fun. I had fun today. A little different, a little more Colin Cowherd style than, than we're used to. But I had a good time. And I think, and we didn't point it out earlier, but we got a new set. We moved upstairs instead of downstairs, so I think the audio will be a little bit better, smaller room and all that. I'm happy with how it came out. I'm glad Alex was able to join us on camera. Numbalx screen time is always good. We've had a lot of comments requesting more balx time, which is weird because the number one thing on the channel is numbalx slander. So I'm going to have to figure out where those comments are coming from and delete them immediately. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Always appreciate all the feedback, all the love, the comments, likes. Transition Takes is the most liked, series on the channel. As of right now, for those of you who watched the 2K Rec videos, my computer is in the shop. So there's a chance that all of my footage is gone and I'll have to re-record Rec videos. And if not, I won't have the computer back probably until this weekend, which means there more than likely won't be a 2K video out this week, but I'll get it out as soon as I possibly can. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. I love doing this show every single week. Feel better, Devin, and y'all have a great night. Peace.